Hello and welcome to Game Soup with Kayla and Chloe. This is a game design podcast where we throw ideas in a pot and see what's cooking. How tired are you today, Chloe?
Very tired. Oh God. I go from one job where I'm getting 8 hours a week to now I'm working full 40+ hour weeks, and I'm a very tired girly.
Ooh, oof, oof.
But I do get to work. Well, this week at least, I've got to work next to a Tim Hortons, so I've enjoyed some French vanilla coffee.
I don't usually care for syrupy coffee, but
Well, I don't know if it's even a syrup. It looked like they were selling it as powder that you put into your coffee.
I'm
So
more open to flavorings via powder form. Whereas as cinnamon, I just often feel like, oh, yeah, I get a bit of the flavor, but mainly what I'm getting is melted sugar.
yeah, well, nothing wrong with melted sugar.
I guess it's maybe I find it more because I otherwise tend to just have coffee black or lattes.
You disgust me.
Surely you know how I get my coffee by now.
You could tell me you changed to patches and I'd believe you. Like,
To coffee patches, do you mean?
yeah,
Or
just caffeine patches. Like, I've got 7 on my leg and 2 on my arm. Like,
no, the patches on my body only secrete hot estrogen.
couldn't be me.
I have been in the middle of working on a game idea that I think I first talked a bit about on this podcast long ago. It's a game inspired by the 1954 Godzilla in sort of two parts, where in the first part, you're people investigating a sort of strange incident, finding evidence that points to a giant monster, theorizing about the nature of that monster, and then trying to like present your findings and warn the city. And then the second part of the game is the giant monster attacks and sort of alternating various POVs as you see how a city and the people within it like handle that disaster and devastation.
mm-hmm. So, my pitch for this, if I was going to be designing this game based on that elevator pitch, I'm thinking it's Brindlewood Bay in Act 1, where you're trying to discover what the monster is, or what if it is a monster or whatever. And then maybe a bunch of Firebrands style things for like, oh, now we're playing as the military, and now we're playing as people in a collapsing building, and people running for shelter, sort of thing.
Um, yeah, I'd say I have written more of this game than you mainly realize. So I've already sort of written all of part one, where yeah, it has a similar, I guess, quantum mystery kind of effect to Brindlewood Bay, but I would say is not massively mechanically similar to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it is a thing. You're getting like random clues. Like you build a city or pick a existing real world city if you want. And I'll probably also include some like story scenario treatments or whatever,
Yeah.
but I haven't got to that bit of the writing yet. Have a specific situation that might be something like, oh, a plane's been knocked out of the sky, or like this destroyed boat or killed whale has washed up on the beach, or there's been like this horrible storm and residents are reporting this sort of shape, like something that gives you this first hint. Then you're rolling for what kind of random evidence you find, like prints, like what is the shape of the prints, how many of them, well, how are they clustered in, like is that indicating an animal with like two legs and a large tail, or is it like something that's crawling on four legs, or you also things like, oh, what other kind of like marks are found, whether that's like claw marks, bite marks, burn marks or stuff. That's also then leading to stuff, as well as like kind of like detritus or maybe even parasites that have been left on it. And so like all of this stuff adds very clearly to a picture of a big giant monster. That's not the mystery itself, and the game, that wouldn't be a mystery element to the game because you know ahead of time you're playing this giant monster game. but like it's the responsibility of the players to, combine this evidence and speculate like,
Yeah.
I think we're looking at like a 50-meter tall wolf like creature
That
on
spits
two legs, but
lightning.
with a
Yeah.
very large tail, maybe even part kangaroo, part wolf mouth. Like, whatever. I've there ended up pitching something quite comedic, but I'd say the tone of the game is very serious.
Yeah.
When I talked about this before having, because I first like mentioned this idea of a sort of, quantum mystery kind of thing for a game inspired by Godzilla. And I said that after I first watched the original 1954 Godzilla. I think we ended up calling that episode like Beware the Wrath of Kaiju.
Yeah.
Um,
I remember this now.
yeah. And at the time I said, I'm going to do some more research and watch some more films. And I have done that to a certain extent. I've watched like Mothra, Rodan, the original King Kong, the original King Kong versus Godzilla. But what I actually ended up noticing through doing this research is, that initial like early scenes of investigation that was the big inspiration I drew from the opening of 1954 Godzilla is not actually a thing that narrative structure was not necessarily copied by other films in the way that it's like the special effects it didn't innovate but pioneered were really influential. Like its narrative structure wasn't so aped. So I'm like, this game is not.
It's not
something like
all of
it's
the
not
monsters. It's specifically that one Godzilla movie.
Yeah, it's not like Fear the Taste of Blood, where that's about like the general concept of Universal and Hammer horror monsters. It's much more like this is a film with a narrative structure that is very much inspired by the original Godzilla film.
Yeah. But you can imagine it for other monsters. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. But like change to sort of suit your own setting and what you're deciding. But in its structure, it's there. So what I was thinking about this, like, because I'd thought about this idea a lot. I kind of had it as an idea that I then wrote in the notes, and I had other stuff to focus on with like Mech Ritter and a
you had a full
Stars.
Play, yeah.
Yeah, but now that I've finished that, I've gone back to this idea, and in that time, I watched films that helped like build out my frame of reference, and I was talking, I think, once with Laurie about this, where I was like, I think like the thing of investigating a site that gives you this idea of what a giant monster is, speculating that, and that being the monster you fight, that's like a really core hook of the game. I think that's the thing that appeals. And so I was like, everything else I should sort of just make sure I get that right and build out from there. Because I think when we talked about this on the first episode, I was like, it could be a Fear the Taste of Blood hack, which used cards and dice. I started like trying to sketch out ideas of how I do that, and then I ended up hitting sort of stumbling blocks there. So I ended up going back to the drawing board where I was just like, I'm just going to write the phases and figure out what is the best mechanic for the whole game from there.
Yeah.
Well, not so much for each bit, but seeing like, because I've realized the thing is like that early phase of it, all you need is some kind of randomizer. But that could be anything. Like this clues could easily be drawn from cards or rolled on a table.
Yeah.
Or anything else. But I was like, so it's easy to fit the mechanics in part 1 to whatever I decide are the best mechanics for part 2. And like I did consider stuff like tarot cards, but what I ended up going with is it uses like polyhedral dice with you assigning them to different stats in a way that I think like Kids on Bike does. I sort of took it from Death Game from Laurie, because there's also elements of a rotating GM, slightly, not fully, but slightly, in this game. And then because of that, I was able to go, cool, okay, that means it's dice at the start.
Yeah.
So an interesting thing I was thinking about this, because I was also in thinking about how it's very much just about the original Godzilla. I was like, I think I've read lots of like very interesting quotes from Ishiro Honda, who's the creator and director of the original Godzilla film. And I was like, I might include some of these quotes throughout the book,
Yeah.
because I think that can add a interesting sort of context. But I was thinking, like, oh, this project, as I'm working on it so far and as I'm imagining it, is kind of the most like unequivocal love letter to something I think I've ever done.
Yeah, it feels like this is explicitly this specific movie, the game.
But even, and obviously there's like, because I've done certain stuff that's in genre spaces before.
Yeah.
Often I more do like premises that are very like unique, but maybe don't map onto something else. But I have done things like Terminal or Fear the Taste of Blood. But often I was thinking in those, like, Terminal contains within it criticism of elements of the Matrix by the changes it makes. Fear the Taste of Blood very much does, like, include, like, textual, not even subtextual, textual criticism where I'm like, there's a lot of horrible attitudes in this. There's a
Yeah.
lot of stigmatizing of disfigurement. Like, avoid this stuff. It's not a just
Meanwhile, here you're
Matt.
like, hey, aren't kaiju's fucking cool?
Well, that's the thing. I initially assumed, like, if it was a wider genre taken, there might have been some element of criticism.
Yeah.
But within this, I'm like, I don't have criticisms of the original Godzilla. I think it's fucking sick. I think if you capture like an ounce of the energy and emotional impact that the original Godzilla has in your game, you've had a fucking great game. Like, Transgender Deathmatch Legend 2 hates with wrestling. So does 1. But, like,
Yeah.
that's not an unequivocal love letter. This is an unequivocal love letter.
Yeah.
I will say, if it was a broader kaiju game, there probably would be some of this more sort of, like, or... Because I will say, in watching a lot of kaiju films, not in the original Godzilla, but in other ones, I'm like, you don't expect to encounter a lot of blackface, but you do. You simply do, and it catches you off guard because it's not the genre you expect. Like,
time period I'd not expected, but I'd understand.
it doesn't surprise me that they
Yes.
do it in that time period, but it surprises me that I'm like, I didn't see how the film would have the need. It's not like I was watching a historical film from 1950. Obviously, I should have expected a lot of dodgy racial attitudes and depictions, but I was like, man, it's about a monster attacking a fucking city. Why did this happen?
Is it the monster that's in blackface? Or
No, both Mothra and the original King Kong involve like fictional indigenous people.
oh, great. Okay,
like
wonderful.
tribal indigenous people who are played by actors in blackface.
Phenomenal.
But it's like, that's not... So if I was making a broad kaiju game, maybe I'd be like, if you're featuring some kind of lost world, think about how we're portraying this area, because there's a lot of dodginess. But that's not an aspect of Godzilla. That's not an aspect of this game.
I mean,
I've got nothing to criticize.
I'm writing a scenario for a pulp like adventure game, and I was like, oh, there's a volcano base. Maybe there's like people who worship the people who work on the thing, because that was the thing in the time. It's like, I don't want to have that though. I don't want to be like, oh, we worship the white man. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, it's like, and obviously certain more broad kaiju stories as a genre do involve stuff like this lost world where this ancient thing emerges. That's why that stuff's there in King Kong and part of Mothra. But that's not like an element you're doing in this game at all, because the monster, the initial site you're investigating is just going to be somewhere near, maybe not part of, but near the city, and then the monster is coming to you. But I've been struggling with names for this. I sent you a couple of different options which we could go through.
By a couple, you mean like 20-something.
Yeah. But before we do that, one thing I'll say is that in the draft I've currently been writing, I've been using one of the names I sent you, which was R Destroyer. So that I guess that's the current working title. It might stay, it might not.
See, you've written Our Destroyer, but the way you've read that, it was like, Destroyer! Which I kind of like.
Wow, all choosing to go after people's accents today.
Like in a sort of Our Real Monsters sort of way.
I think, yeah. Well, this does bring up. I've gone for our, as in like the plural first person pronoun,
Yeah,
our destroyer. Um, but it brings up a sort of tonal thing because the first like 5 options I sent you were like Wrath of the Mega Monster, Wrath of the
yeah.
Giant, the Rampaging Monster, Mighty Monster Attack, Behemoth, Mega Monster Attack. But like,
You want to go serious, don't you?
yeah, this is the thing. The tone of this game is serious. It's not treating a giant monster attack as campy fun. It's asking you to, play to find out what would happen
Yeah.
with this giant monster attack. So tonally you want to have a sort of somberness and a seriousness.
I'm
There's also
thinking
the thing.
something
Oh, go
like
on.
Case File Kaiju or like
I
something
don't
like
want to
X
go on.
Filesy. I don't know.
I don't want to go too hard on just emphasizing the first half because it is both half of the games.
Yeah.
But like, I'll read out some of the other options I sent you. Monster Attack Survivors. That one is a nice thing where it's emphasizing the people, but it does sound a bit generic.
Yeah.
Unnatural Disaster, which maybe gives that disaster movie, but it's maybe not. I mean, the cover word also do work
It's
here,
not
but it's maybe not
snappy.
giant monster enough. Colossal Emergency was one, which has a more sort of snappiness, but
Yeah.
Um, this is the other thing I'll say before I go to the next part. There's this struggle where because the players are making the monster in the game,
You can't be
I
specific
can't.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't use too many specific descriptors, and I can't give the monster a name. So some I went for sort of ones that are maybe using like almost titles for it, like the King of Disaster, the Incarnation of Devastation, one was like the name of the monster. They've all got maybe the sort of gravitas that is
Yeah.
is maybe is right. I wonder if they perhaps foreground the monster too much, whereas it's like the GM. Oh, this is a fun thing I forgot to mention. This game is GM, but I say there's an element where like when you play a character who dies, because characters are going to die a lot, and you're going to play lots of different characters because of that. Like you're allowed to play as the giant monster as you narrate your own character's death scene, and then like you pass it back. I'll probably also do a variation rule where you could like group GM or do a rotating GM for it.
Yeah.
And GM stands for giant monster.
Of course. I like it when we
Um,
change what GM means, but yeah.
did you say you do or don't?
No, I do love it.
Here it's just very good. It also makes sense. Like, yeah, you're the guy, like the GM is the person who's sort of setting difficulty and doing it. But that's why I'm like, I worry things like the King of Disaster or the Incarnation of Devastation maybe set an assumption differently. So like our Destroyer, I like Destroyer has an appropriate gravitas. It also kind of feels like nuclear weapon adjacent in
Yeah.
terminology. The first person plural, I think they're saying that foregrounds the
people
I
it
think
is
human
destroying.
perspective without going like maybe without having the sort of genericism of monster attack survivors. But like I thought of other things which were maybe doing more sort of evocative phrase work. So like to destroy us, it destroys. We will be destroyed was one. The similar stuff with our destroyer, but I kind of like the decisiveness of we will be destroyed. Destroy us, destroy everyone was one I thought is kind of fun, but the fact that the acronym would be dude is not great.
I didn't even notice that. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Oh, dude, right, great.
Do you have any thoughts?
I mean, I'm looking at these, and destroy is no longer a word, but I kind of do like our destroyer or it destroys.
Yeah, it destroys, I think, is the other best option. I do think our destroyer is currently the best option, so I think
Yeah,
that's what it will.
I
It's
can
the
see
working
it.
title.
I can see a cover where it's from the perspective of the survivors pointing up at a giant shadow of a monster, and it's like from a speech bubble or something. It destroys. It's like our destroyer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, I like that. Questions about how I'll do the layout of this game. Stuff I'll figure out once I've written
Yeah,
it,
God,
and
yeah,
what I would
yeah,
do
bro.
for like publishing it. There's like, it's another thing like the Gallant and Virtuous, where like a big amount of it will be decided by what is the final size of the game.
Yeah.
But also, part of me is maybe interested in the idea of doing like a new edition of Fear the Taste of Blood as well, and
Yeah, and you
like
could do like a
bundling them
monster.
together as like monster game double feature.
Yeah. Science fiction
Um,
double feature.
yeah. So let's that's the fun little side project I'm working on. Its pace will probably depend on how I'm doing day to day because I'm also doing like stand up stuff. What have you been working on lately, Chloe?
I mean, I said that I'm working on this pulp adventure thing, but I've mostly just written a sort of outline. I need to like bring my laptop to work so I can actually just knock it out. Uh,
Is this for something or is this a you
yeah,
project?
this is some work for hire, but
Oh, nice.
I have the outline outlined, but I just need to start writing down our adventure begins on a cruise ship sort of stuff.
And I assume because of its nature as work for hire, you cannot go into any more specifics on it?
I mean, I don't think I've signed anything, but in case I change anything, I don't want to go specific on it.
Yeah. No, I get you. You also said you've been doing some Bittercold stuff,
Yeah,
right?
so Alyssa has been hardlining the Bittercold juice and is starting to put it in a layout, but then in putting it in a layout has decided, oops, all of this old stuff would kind of taste like Game Jam. Kind of tastes like it was written very quickly. So now she's going through all of it and rewriting everything. And it's like we were saying a few weeks back. It's like, oh, it was going to be an update. It was just going to be a new layout, sexy edition book, new cover, everything. This has definitely just become a new edition of the book. This is Bittercold second edition. Like it's a
It's
full
so hard to
remake.
just do a little tweak.
Oh,
Just do a
absolutely.
little
God,
layout
yeah.
tweak.
It's like, oh, we're going to do
But
a balancing
you,
pass. Nope, we're just going to change the whole thing. Fuck you.
how are you feeling about what you've been working on with it, though? Are you liking the shape of where it's going?
I'll be honest, I'm mostly just a playtest dummy, but it's good. The flavor is it's very horror as opposed to the sort of there is a hill, you go up it and you take a damage. It's like no, it's like proper leaning into that sort of atmospheric like location horror.
Mm. It's kind of like a sort of environmental survival horror mixed with cosmic horror elements,
It
is my
does have some
understanding of the
cryptics.
tone of bed.
It's leaning into that a bit towards the end. Yeah. Um,
Nice. I'm excited to
yeah, I'm
see how that
excited to see
goes.
it finished.
I won't press you for any time frame on it. I'm not one of your
We're hoping to
demanding
have
Kickstarter
we're
backers.
hoping to have it done for UKG so we can have it on tables because it will be a big draw. I mean, it certainly was last year when it was even just the first edition. Uh, People like a roguelike, and if it can be like, oh yeah, it's a tabletop roguelike, it's like, yeah, cool. I liked Inscription. Bosh, give me it.
So probably we can either wrap up the episode now. I was also going to ask. You told me a bit about some more stuff you're working on with clerics and a message. Do you want to talk about that, or do you want to save that for another episode or
We
whatever?
can go into that properly next week.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone for listening to Game Soup. Remember to come say hi to us at UK Games Expo. Also, if you are a Dartford resident, get yourself down to the Priory Shopping Centre this Saturday night, time of at the time of release tomorrow. I'll be there as part of an indie makers market selling books. Say bye, Chloe.
Goodbye, Kayla.